The autumn rain hammered against the windows of my small apartment as I tried to focus on the manuscript scattered across my desk. Being a struggling writer in the city meant long nights and little pay, but I'd grown used to the solitude. What I hadn't grown used to was her. Kira appeared on my fire escape without warning, as she always did. Through the rain-streaked glass, her amber eyes gleamed with that familiar mischief. Her fox ears twitched beneath her hood, and even drenched, her russet tail swayed with predatory grace. I opened the window. "You're soaked." "And you're boring," she replied, slipping inside with fluid elegance. Water dripped from her clothes onto my floor as she studied me with that unsettling intensity that made my heart race. "Still hiding behind words, Evan? When will you actually live?" Kira had been challenging me for months now, ever since the night I'd accidentally wandered into the Twilight Market, the hidden space where mystical beings traded under moonlight. Most humans who discovered that world either fled in terror or got themselves killed trying to exploit it. I'd simply helped an elderly kitsune carry her groceries. That act of kindness had caught Kira's attention. "I am living," I protested, handing her a towel. "Some of us have rent to pay." She laughed, a sound like wind chimes and danger. "You're surviving. That's different." She moved closer, and I caught her scent, wild honey and pine smoke. "I have a new game for you." "I'm not interested in your games." "Liar." Her finger traced my jawline, and electricity shot through my skin. We both knew the truth. Despite the danger, despite the logical voice screaming at me to stay away, I was addicted to these moments. To her. "What kind of game?" I asked, my voice rougher than intended. Kira's smile widened. "A dare. You choose one action, any action you want, and I'll match it. No limits. No safety nets." Her eyes held mine. "Unless you're too scared?" "That's vague even for you." She shrugged, peeling off her wet jacket. Underneath, her fitted shirt clung to curves that made my mouth go dry. "That's the point. I dare you to surprise me, Evan. Make a choice that matters. Show me you're more than the safe, predictable human I've been toying with. And if I refuse? Then I'll know I was right about you." She moved to the window. "I'll know you're content with this half-life. I'll stop coming." The thought created an unexpected hollow in my chest. "When?" "You have until the harvest moon. 3 nights." She climbed onto the fire escape, then paused. "Choose wisely, writer. This dare isn't just about courage, it's about truth. Your truth." Then she was gone, leaving only wet footprints and the hammering of my heart. I stared at the empty window for a long time. Part of me wanted to dismiss this as another of her games. But Kira never made empty threats. And despite her playful demeanor, I'd seen the genuine curiosity in her eyes, the question of whether I could be more than what I appeared. The real question was, could I? I thought about the rules that governed the relationship between humans and mystical beings. The unspoken boundaries we were never supposed to cross. The segregation that kept our worlds separate despite our proximity. Whatever choice I made would have consequences that rippled beyond just the two of us. I picked up her discarded jacket, still warm from her body, and made my decision. I would spend the next 3 days preparing. Because when the harvest moon rose, I wouldn't just surprise Kira. I would change everything. The Twilight Market only appeared after midnight, when the veil between worlds grew thin. I'd avoided it since that first accidental visit, but tonight I walked its shifting streets with purpose. The market materialized in the old warehouse district, ordinary brick transforming into something between dream and reality. Stalls sold everything from bottled starlight to memories in crystal vials. Vendors of every mystical species called out their wares while humans, the few brave or foolish enough to enter, moved through the crowds with nervous steps. I found her near the eastern edge, where the market began to fade into mist. Yuna was ancient, one of the original kitsune who'd made the treaties that governed our coexistence. Her 9 tails marked her power, each one shimmering with silver fire. She sat in a pavilion of paper lanterns, drinking tea that smelled of moonflowers. "Young Evan," she said without looking up. "I wondered when you would come. You know why I'm here. Kira." She finally met my eyes, and I saw centuries of wisdom there. My reckless, brilliant, impossibly stubborn granddaughter. "Sit." I obeyed, settling onto the cushion across from her. The tea she poured steamed despite the cool night air. "She's been testing you," Yuna continued. "4 months now. Do you understand why? She thinks I'm playing it safe. That I'm afraid to really live. And she's correct, isn't she?" Yuna's voice held no judgment, only observation. "But there's more. Kira sees something in you, something even you haven't acknowledged. She's drawn to your potential, yes, but also your kindness. In our world, genuine kindness without expectation of reward is rare." I wrapped my hands around the warm cup. "The dare she gave me will force you both to confront what you've been dancing around." Yuna leaned forward. "Evan, do you know what happens when a kitsune chooses a human as their mate?" My heart stopped. We're not. Aren't you?" Her knowing smile was gentle. "Not yet, perhaps. But Kira doesn't play games with humans she doesn't care for. She torments you because she's terrified of what she feels. And you let her because you feel it too." The truth of her words settled over me like a cloak. All those nights of verbal sparring, the touches that lingered too long, the way my apartment felt empty when she wasn't there, I'd been lying to myself about what was growing between us. "The laws forbid it," I said quietly. "The laws are mortal creations, written by fearful minds." Yuna poured more tea. "But breaking them has consequences. A kitsune who bonds with a human shares their lifespan, she would lose her immortality. And you, Evan, would gain some of her nature. You would become something between human and mystical, belonging fully to neither world. Would she want that? To give up so much? That's what she's trying to discover." Yuna's expression grew serious. "This dare is her way of finding out if you're worth the sacrifice. If you're brave enough to choose a life of passion and risk over safety and convention." I thought of Kira's challenge. Choose one action, any action. No limits. No safety nets. What if I'm not enough? The vulnerability in my voice surprised me. Yuna stood, and I rose with her. She placed a weathered hand on my shoulder. "Then you'll both walk away with answers. But Evan, if you love her, truly love her, then no choice is impossible. The question is whether you're willing to burn down your comfortable life for a chance at something extraordinary." She handed me a small charm, a paper fox that glowed faintly silver. "When you've made your decision, burn this. She'll feel it. She'll come." I left the twilight market with the charm clutched in my hand and fire in my chest. I had 2 nights left to prepare for a choice that would either bind us together or tear us apart forever. Back in my apartment, I pulled out every book on kitsune lore I'd quietly collected over the months. I researched bonding rituals, studied the ancient poems about human kitsune pairs, and traced the history of those who dared to love across the divide. By dawn, I knew what I had to do. The choice that would leave Kira speechless wasn't about grand gestures or dramatic proclamations. It was about showing her I understood the weight of what she was offering, and that I was willing to carry it with her. The night of the harvest moon arrived heavy with possibility. I'd transformed my apartment into something between human and mystical, candles flickered with foxfire I'd bartered for at the market, and the air hummed with protective charms Yuna had helped me weave. Not to keep Kira out, but to keep the world from interfering with what would happen tonight. I burned the paper fox at exactly midnight. She appeared within moments, materializing from shadow on my fire escape. But this time, Kira didn't wear her usual playful mask. Her expression was guarded, almost vulnerable, as she stepped inside. "You actually did it," she said softly, taking in the transformed space. "You called me. I made my choice." I moved closer, close enough to feel the heat radiating from her skin. "But before I tell you, I need to know something." Her ears flattened slightly. "What? Why me? Of all the humans you could torment, challenge, play with, why choose a broke writer with nothing to offer?" Kira's laugh was bitter. "You think you have nothing to offer?" She reached up, fingers tangling in my hair. "Evan, you're the first person in a century who looked at me and saw beyond the myth. Who helped an old kitsune with groceries without asking for favors. Who argued with me about books and philosophy instead of gawking at my tail. That's just basic decency." "Exactly." Her forehead pressed against mine, and I could feel her trembling. "Do you have any idea how rare that is? Humans either fear us or fetishize us. But you just treated me like a person. Like I mattered beyond what I could do for you." My hands found her waist, pulling her closer. "You do matter. More than you should. Then show me." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Make your choice, Evan. Dare me back. Prove I'm not crazy for wanting this." I took a breath, steadying myself. "My choice is this: I choose you, Kira. Not for a night, not for a game. I choose to begin the bonding ritual. I choose to become your mate, if you'll have me." The silence that followed was deafening. Kira's eyes widened, genuine shock replacing her usual confidence. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. For the first time since I'd known her, she was completely speechless. "You." She finally managed. "You can't mean that. Do you have any idea what you're offering? What you'd be giving up? My humanity? My place in normal society? The comfortable, safe life I've been hiding in?" I cupped her face in my hands. "I know exactly what I'm offering. I've spent 3 days researching every consequence, every price. I'm offering you everything, Kira. Because you're worth it." Tears, actual tears, welled in her amber eyes. "I would lose my immortality. I'd age with you, die with you. I know. And I'm asking you to choose too. Not because of a dare or a game, but because this, us, is real. Because I love you, and I think you love me, and I'm tired of pretending otherwise." She kissed me then, fierce and desperate, as if trying to devour every word I'd spoken. I kissed her back with equal intensity, months of tension finally breaking like a dam. Her hands were everywhere, in my hair, on my chest, pulling at my shirt with growing urgency. "Wait," she gasped, breaking away. "The ritual, once we begin, there's no going back. You'll be bound to the mystical world. Hunted by those who enforce segregation. You'll never be fully human again." I smiled, brushing a strand of copper hair from her face. "Then I guess I better be ready for an adventure." "You're insane," she whispered, but her eyes shone with something I'd never seen before, hope. "Maybe. But I'm your kind of insane." Kira pulled back slightly, composing herself with visible effort. "The bonding requires 3 exchanges under the harvest moon. Words, blood, and essence. Each one binds us tighter until the bond is complete. Are you absolutely certain?" I answered by taking her hand and leading her to the window, where moonlight poured silver across the floor. I've never been more certain of anything in my life. The first exchange was words, vows spoken under moonlight that would tie our fates together. Kira stood before me in the silver glow, her usual confidence replaced with something raw and real. "I'll go first," she said, her voice trembling. "Evan Mitchell, I vow to share my life with yours, to surrender my immortality for the chance to grow old beside you. I vow to protect you, to cherish you, and to love you with everything I am, fox and woman both." Power rippled through the air as she spoke, visible as golden threads that wound around us both. The words of a kitsune carried weight, became binding promises enforced by magic itself. My turn. Kira Ashwood, I vow to accept you fully, your wildness, your mystery, your world. I vow to stand beside you against whatever comes, to learn your ways, and to love every part of you, impossible and beautiful as you are. The threads brightened, tightening around our joined hands. Kira gasped, her pupils dilating. You feel it? The connection forming? I nodded, unable to speak. It was like a door opening in my chest, and through it I could sense her emotions, the fear, the exhilaration, the desperate love she'd been hiding behind games and dares. The second exchange, she whispered, producing a silver knife from seemingly nowhere. Blood shared, lives intertwined. She drew the blade across her palm without hesitation. Crimson welled up, but it shimmered with an inner light. When she offered me the knife, I met her eyes and did the same, wincing at the sting. We pressed our palms together. The effect was instantaneous and overwhelming. Heat poured through our joined hands, and I felt my body changing. My senses sharpened dramatically. I could hear her heartbeat, smell the wild magic in her blood, taste the electricity in the air. And through our connection, I felt her experiencing the same transformation, her mystical nature tempering to accommodate my humanity. Evan, she gasped, swaying. I caught her, pulling her against me. It's stronger than I expected. You're already changing me, and I'm changing you. I know. I could feel it, the way her immortal essence was dividing, half flowing into me while my mortality anchored her. Is it supposed to feel like this? Like we're being reborn? Her laugh was breathless. Yes. Like we're burning and drowning and flying all at once? Yes. Like we can't survive without each other now? That's exactly what it should feel like. She kissed me again, deeper this time, and I tasted moonlight and wild places. My hands found the hem of her shirt, and she helped me pull it over her head, revealing skin that seemed to glow in the moonlight. Her fox markings, patterns I'd glimpsed before but never truly seen, traced elegant spirals across her ribs and shoulders. Beautiful, I breathed. Your turn, she murmured, fingers working at my buttons. When my shirt fell away, she traced the new marks appearing on my own skin, mirror images of hers, proof of the bond taking hold. We moved to my bed, a tangle of limbs and desperate kisses. Every touch sent sparks through the bond between us. When her hand slid down my stomach, I groaned, my own hands exploring the dip of her waist, the curve of her hip. The third exchange, Kira whispered against my neck, her breath hot on my skin. Essence shared. Bodies joined. Souls merged. Now? I managed, though thinking was becoming difficult with her pressed against me like this. Now, she confirmed, her amber eyes meeting mine with absolute certainty. Make love to me, Evan. Complete the bond. Make us one. The intimacy that followed was unlike anything I'd experienced. Every caress, every kiss, every moment of connection strengthened the bond between us. I could feel what she felt, her pleasure magnifying mine, creating a feedback loop of sensation that built until neither of us could tell where one ended and the other began. When we finally joined completely, the bond snapped fully into place with the force of a lightning strike. The world exploded into color and sensation beyond human perception. I could see the threads of magic binding us, feel the reshaping of my very essence, sense the cosmic weight of the choice we'd made. Kira cried out, her body arching as the transformation completed. Her 9 tails manifested fully for the first time, fanning around us in a display of raw power, but I felt her immortality flowing away like water through our connection, anchoring her to my mortal timeline. In return, I felt centuries of knowledge, mystical awareness, and preternatural ability flood into me. Not enough to make me truly kitsune, but enough to bridge the gap between our kinds. We collapsed together, gasping and shaking. Through the bond, I felt her wonder, her joy, her slight terror at what we'd done. "No going back now," she whispered. I pulled her closer, my fingers tracing the base of her tails. "Good. I wouldn't want to." Outside, the harvest moon reached its zenith, blessing the choice that would reshape both our lives forever. Dawn found us still entwined, the bond between us humming with satisfied warmth. But as the first rays of sunlight touched the window, reality began creeping back in. Kira stirred against my chest, her tails wrapping around us both like a cocoon. "They'll come for us," she murmured. "The enforcers. They maintain the separation between worlds. What we've done violates every treaty and tradition." I ran my fingers through her hair, marveling at how natural it felt to hold her like this. "I know. Yuna warned me." Her head shot up. "You spoke with my grandmother?" I needed to understand what I was choosing. "She gave me her blessing, actually. Said it was about time someone challenged the old ways." Kira's expression cycled through surprise, anger, and finally grudging acceptance. "Of course she did. She's been arguing for reform for decades." She traced patterns on my chest, where my new markings had fully settled. "But her blessing won't protect us from the council. They'll see this as treason." "Then we run." "Where?" But even as she asked, I felt her calculating through our bond. "The mystical sanctuaries won't accept a bonded pair. Human cities aren't safe for me anymore, I'm too powerful now, too visible to their censors. So we create our own sanctuary." I'd thought this through during my 3 days of preparation. There are places between worlds, neutral grounds where the treaties don't reach. We find one, make it ours. I write, you do, whatever mysterious foxgirl things you do. We build a life that's ours alone. She stared at me, speechless for the second time in 12 hours. "You really did choose me." "Completely. With full understanding of the cost." "Did you doubt it?" "Yes," she admitted. "I thought you'd choose something safer. A kiss maybe, or ask me to stay for a night. I thought you'd want to keep your options open." Her voice cracked slightly. "I didn't think anyone would actually want me enough to burn their whole world down." I kissed her slowly, pouring every ounce of certainty through our bond. "Your dare asked me to surprise you. To show you my truth. My truth is that I'd rather have one real lifetime with you than 100 safe ones without you." Kira buried her face in my neck, and I felt dampness on my skin. Through our bond, her emotions crashed over me, overwhelming love, fierce protectiveness, and lingering disbelief that this was actually happening. "I love you," she whispered against my skin. "I've loved you since you helped that old woman without asking for anything. I just didn't think I'd ever get to say it. I love you too. Your wildness, your challenges, the way you make me feel alive." I pulled back to meet her eyes. "Now stop being sentimental and help me pack. We have about 6 hours before the council realizes what we've done." That sparked her back to action. Kira's grin returned, sharp and dangerous and utterly her. "There's a place I know. An old temple in the mountains between territories. Abandoned by humans, too remote for most mystical beings. We could make it ours." "Perfect." I was already pulling on clothes, gathering the essentials. "Though I should warn you, I have terrible survival skills. You might regret bonding with a city boy. Please." She smirked, her tails helping sort through my belongings with dexterous efficiency. "I can hunt, build shelter, and command foxfire. You can write beautiful words and make me feel things I thought I'd forgotten how to feel. We'll manage." As we worked together, I marveled at how right this felt. The bond between us made cooperation effortless. I knew what she needed before she asked, and she anticipated my movements with perfect synchronicity. "Evan," she said suddenly, pausing in her packing. "Are you scared?" "Terrified," I admitted. But also more alive than I've ever been. That's what you wanted to give me, isn't it? A life worth living instead of just existing? She crossed the room in an instant, kissing me with such tenderness it made my chest ache. You gave me something too. Hope. The belief that maybe the old rules are wrong, and that something better is possible. We finished packing as the sun climbed higher. By the time we heard the first whispers of power gathering in the distance, the enforcers assembling, we were ready. Kira took my hand, power swirling around us both. Last chance to change your mind. I squeezed her fingers. Not a chance. Where you go, I go. That's what bonded mates do, right? Right. Her smile was radiant, all her walls finally down. Then hold tight, my brave, foolish, perfect human. Our adventure is just beginning. The foxfire consumed us, and we vanished from my apartment just as the door exploded inward. When we materialized in the mountain temple, rain falling through broken rafters, I looked at Kira, truly looked at her, and saw my future. She'd dared me to choose, and my choice had left her speechless. But in the end, we'd both chosen something far more valuable than safety or convention. We'd chosen love. We'd chosen truth. We'd chosen each other. And that made us unstoppable. 3 months later. The temple was no longer abandoned. We'd rebuilt it together, my human ingenuity combined with her mystical power. The structure now stood proud against the mountain winds, a perfect blend of both our worlds. I wrote by the fire while Kira tended her garden of moonflowers, and in the evenings we explored each other in new ways, the bond between us growing richer and deeper. Sometimes refugees found us, other mixed couples, mystical beings tired of hiding, humans seeking something more, and we welcomed them. The council still hunted us, officially. But Yuna had started a quiet revolution among the older kitsune, and the rules that had seemed unbreakable were beginning to crack. Kira padded over to where I sat, wrapping her arms around my shoulders from behind. Any regrets? I reached up to take her hand, feeling our bond pulse with shared contentment. Only that I didn't choose this sooner. Liar, she teased. You needed those months of torment to be ready for me. Maybe. I pulled her into my lap, enjoying her surprised laugh. But I'm ready now. For all of it. Every challenge, every adventure, every impossible choice. She kissed me softly. Good. Because I dare you to spend forever with me. I grinned against her lips. Challenge accepted. And as the moon rose over our sanctuary, casting silver light across the life we'd built together, I knew I'd made the right choice. The choice that mattered. The choice that defined exactly who I was. I'd chosen love over fear, and it had given me everything.